Hey everybody, this is John here, aka Press of Bubbles. Once again, welcome to my laboratory. Today's issue, I see many discussions on the game right now, and it goes around about the whole aspect of the cost. I'm for one glad that we're back in the game. We got a good assertion that tournaments are starting up soon. Some countries are getting the locals started up, but I think one thing that I think is upsetting a lot of people is the cost. And it's not just the rising cost of tournament entry fees, which I'll talk about a little bit. It's also just the cost in general to be competitive in any sense. I mean, it's just the Pokemon competitive circuit does cost money to play. It's not like any other hobby. I believe that people just need to realize that you have to understand that if you're going to play this for fun, go right ahead. Local is going to be a great thing. But if you ever want to play competitively, there's things people gotta know. And I actually just want to share some of my personal experience and my knowledge. I've been playing this game since I was a kid. I got into the game. I played back in red and blue era of the video game. And I played locals when I was a kid. And probably got, beat all the time. Just playing my favorite Pokemon, not playing competitive. I started being really competitive like around 2004 to 2006. And I remember going to like my first competitive tournament, and tournaments cost $5 to $10. Which I was like, okay. There's a prize pool. Prize pool is based off of the amount of players are playing, and there's packs awarded to that. And I thought it was very interesting how all that is all set up all together. Over time, those costs gradually go up, and yes, you get more prize pool for locals, but I do see a trend when it comes to regionals, internationals, worlds. And when I say trend, I'm talking about like the major costs to these tournaments. My first regional tournament was back around 2006, 2008 in California. Without going to specifying which area, I remember going to a tournament and it was like $15-20. I was like, okay, this makes sense. Regional tournament, a big amount of people, huge amount of players, and it's gonna be competitive for juniors, seniors, and masters. And I remember juniors and seniors were actually cheaper entries because they had less people and you gotta make it more affordable for the younger kids. And I understood that masters had to be a higher price. What over time though, those prices have gone up. And I remember I'm going to call it post-ever COVID. And I remember at one point, tournaments, without counting VIPs, which is a totally different scenario, I'm talking about the standard entry fees for people, were like $30-40. And then all of a sudden, when we did this last year's Worlds, which is basically just not a bunch of regionals, it cost her about, what, 50-60? About $50-60 for standard. Now, I think the Baltimore one and Salt Lake are hitting between $60 to $70, and that's also including the TCG and I think Pokemon Go. Right now, VGC, the video game, is not doing anything until January. That's the main deal. We were thinking that trading card game would do the same thing. Over time, we found more information out, so video games still on the halt. But all I want to talk about is just cost today. And the reason why I bring it up is because I think Pokemon needs to know, understand that there are people who are just going to play competitively, and those are your hardcore players who always play. That's fine, but here's the problem: Pokemon right now seems like it's looking at the short-term game versus long-term. If you don't understand how I'm saying that, I been looking at this for a while, and it's like a trend. I know there's major places that have a lot of juniors and seniors, but a lot of these places I've been to recently, even post COVID, before COVID and during COVID and after COVID, the senior division and junior division just dropped to almost nothing in major areas I thought they had a lot of people playing. Not because their age and went up the levels. It's all because they actually stopped playing because of the finance. When you have a family and you have 2 or 3 kids, and all 3 kids want to go play a Pokemon tournament, and your tournament's costing you, let's just say, $15-20 to play. Well, you obviously need all 3 kids to play. They're all going to want to play. So say if you did $15, that's $45. Now let's just say each kid needs to get some new sleeves, new dices, and stuff like that. Well, let's just say it's about at a minimum $10 each for each one. That family had to spend between $70 and $90 for the sleeves, and that's not even counting the cards you have to go purchase for these kids. That adds up. And to me, it's like, I think organizers, TOs, regional people, international tournaments, world tournaments, I understand there has to be like, I'm not going to use the word profit, but there has to be a plus margin. But I think the short-term game is they know that people are going to be, hardcore fans are going to keep on playing. That number is not going to drop. But in the long-term game, I don't think Pokemon realizes that those players who've been playing for years, they're all late adults, and eventually life's going to start up and other priorities are going to kick in. And because you're catering to this format for the older kids who are going to be able to pay for this price, the younger kids are not going to get interested in the game. And guess what? They're going to leave. And they're going to do other things. And I believe that it's going to be a nightmare to get more people in. And I see less and less. I think we saw one region. I think it was that the junior division had like less than 40 kids. I mean, it's great for the kids, but then the cost was the same for the higher ups. I don't believe that should happen like that. I honestly do believe the cost for junior seniors should be drastically less. I'm not trying to reduce their prizes, but they should drop the prizes because of get the kids interested. And that's what they need to do. Now, one of the things I was going to show today was an ideal cost of going to a tournament. So actually, I'm going to switch over to my Excel sheet here. And if you notice, I broke down just a couple little things. I got flight, transportation, hotel, food, event, cards, and I got a little subtotal. So, without going to like, this place is going to cost more and this other place is going to cost a lot more, I just want people to get an idea of an average cost for most of these places if you're going by yourself or you're with your mom and dad. Or if you're going by yourself and then want to talk about the cost goes up when the juniors or seniors want to go, because obviously parents need to go with them. And this is the things that Pokemon should take in consideration about lowering the price for juniors and seniors. So, if you did a round trip ticket, okay, I'm going to look at one of the events. I think one of the events was Portland. That'll be later on, like next year. I'm just gonna give you a roundabout. I'm doing roundabout estimates. If this was like 2010, that flight would be like less than $250. I am pretty sure if I pull up a flight right now, which again I am actually just pulling up Google Flights. By the way, Google Flights, I'm not trying to sponsor them, but it's a really good website to kind of show where costs are for all NGCs. I do this a lot of times to prepare for stuff. And I'm going to go to like May next year. I'm just picking a loft ball date right now. I'm looking at $470 to about $600. Well, about $500 round trip. That's what I'm looking at. I'm going to call it $500. Oh, sorry. I gotta look at my keyboard here. We're gonna have $500 for that trip right there. Now let's talk about transportation. And that's just one person, by the way. I just want to emphasize that's just one person on this trip. Now let's talk about gas. Now I know people do rental cars and some people do like the Uber, but we're just talking about in general. If you got a rental car, for 2 to 3 days, you get the cheapest one. Let's say $120. That's going low ball. And you're going to have to refill it, or you pay for the price for that. And let's just say it's like, $40. Gas is going up. And if you're going to skip all this, you're going to do Uber for the whole weekend. I'm just going to throw them out there because from the airport to some of these places could be close. Some of them could be very far. So I'm just going to throw $100. Depending on people in the car, what size of vehicle you're going to get, etc., etc. Just give you an estimate of a number, okay? Now we're going to look at hotel. say you're going to fly on a Friday and you're going to leave on a Sunday. I'm just going for the low days, not even counting the Monday. So you got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You got like a 3-day stay you're doing there, or 2-night stay. So if we're gonna do like a 2-night stay and room is like $150, or if you do sometimes Pokemon regionals have good deals when it comes to like rooms and all. But let's just say it's like $180, but then you got taxes, you got all the little miscellaneous fees. So let's say it's $180, and then looking at miscellaneous fees. I use that term like if you got a vehicle or something is damaged, or it's just miscellaneous stuff that could possibly happen, which puts on 40. Or, a bit easier, 20. Now, some about food. If you're a really conservative person in how you buy your food and how you do things, you can do very well. I'm going to give, again, a low ball number of $100 for one person. Now, we got the event. Like I said, the recent events are showing that they're going to be costing around, I want to say, $70. There's VIP passes, there's other things to that number, but we're talking about just playing the event. So Pokemon TCG right now at this point is charging between $60 and $70. I think that's with the tax. That gives you that estimate number. Now I'm talking about cards right now. So with the sleeves, decks, and dices, if you're a new player, you always want to have a fresh sleeves going to tournaments. Why? Sleeves get dirty every time you shuffle them. They get messed up. If there's a tear or wear and a judge or a player complains about it and they go, I think they're marking their cards. Well, the only easy way to prevent that is buy new sleeves. $10 for probably nice dices, $10 roughly for sleeves, deck box probably 10. Which say you're probably spending $20 on low ball. You have your binder. I'll use $50 for a decent binder. And then you got your cards. Now it costs you your cards. How much it costs you to buy these cards? Now, I'm gonna only throw this number out there. I'm saying $250, and miscellaneous is another unknown entity. I'll leave that alone as it be. If you take away the card costs, really, I could take away these two costs. Right now, for one person by himself to go on one of these trips, it's going to cost you over $1,000, $1,150. Now, I look at that and I go, Pokemon, you're charging $70 for this event. If I was a junior and I have a brother or sister who want to go and play too, and that parent is looking at this, just do the simple math. Equal this. You have 3 kids, or say you have 2 kids. Alright, this is just based off 2 kids. We're just doing 2 adults. I had to change a little multiplier here, but probably should have done it a different way. But anyways, the whole point is now this flight cost is going to probably, well, depending on how you do it, some flights are pretty cool, but if 2 adults are paying, you get like the kids for free. Let's just double it to 1,000. Those prices are about to be the same for what you're going to do. Rooms go the same, but then you got food, and that's going to go $250 to $300. Your fees are now $140. Let's see, now let's just say $210. You got 2 kids or 3 kids. I'll just take 2 kids. Fine. We'll just do that. I'm not gonna make it so difficult. You can obviously see how these numbers are gonna start stacking up over time. With 2 parents, and luckily if you got like Spirited or one of those third class flights going on, they get really good on deals with kids. So I'm only doing that for that factor. But obviously you can see this number multiplying like crazy. A family can spend $1,000 to $2,000 for one regional event. Now, in the United States, we found out that our CP points are still 500. The highest of any other region, and of course that's Canada and us. So we're taking North America. And we don't even have regionals. Now it brings up another situation. The last regionals I went to, or even recent regionals I've seen, they're only offering regionals, and they have their, I call it the game wall, where if you're not playing regionals, you could get prizes off mini games. Well, here's my problem with that. If I sent many tickets before about to Pokemon in regards to this, why isn't Pokemon not? I understand why they're not allowing locals, challenges and cups, or showdowns for VGC, or I don't think there's a term for Pokemon Go yet. I think they're still in the infant stages of what they're going to start calling theirs soon. But in general, local events are paused because each state has different regulation. I get that. But if Pokemon is allowing regionals, and we're paying $70 to go to regional events, here's a way they can make up that cost number. You can go ahead and charge us the $70, Pokemon. But what you should do is offer challenges and cups that weekend. That Friday, that Saturday's the big event. We're going to do this, and between Saturday's main event, or so between the event on Saturday and the day 2 on Sunday to finals on Sunday, how about Friday becomes the challenge? People at the time of events, it's free. You only allow so many people, and then you offer like 4 or 5 pods. All the judges, you are currently there. Each judge can handle 20 kids or 21 kids to make an 8-man pod, and let them have that excitement of getting local points. Then the first day of the event starts. If you're not doing so well in that event, and you're like, you know what, I'm not doing so well, Pokemon could set up pretty good where if you're like halfway through the event going, you know what, I'm not going to be able to get the regional points, I'm just not doing so well today, offer a cup that afternoon and make it like a pod format. All the players who showed up that played could get into those things. They're not like spectators. And then offer them to going, okay, you know what? You didn't do so well here. We're off these little pod cups, and there are going to be like 20 people per. And we only have so many for Saturday, and we have so many for Sunday, too. So people who don't make day 2 but got points can have opportunity to play as well. Basically, it gives everybody the right to play at least one challenge and one cup during a regional event. I personally think that's a great idea. Now, many other people probably have different ideas about that. I think Pokemon needs to get that in gear. And if you want to charge this amount, here's the best way to do it. Charge your crazy high amount, lower the amount for juniors and seniors, drop it down to like half that cost for them to make sense for the adults have to go with those kids. We have to be sensible about this. Not more sensible. We got to be more responsible. If you want to get more kids involved in this game, you have to make it feasible for the parents to play. That's what comes down to it. Now, in terms of the players, like I said, if everybody had entry fees, then everybody will have like a ticket. You need 20-man pods. Everybody has one ticket, and then you are able to give that one ticket for a challenge and one ticket for a cup. Whenever they offer them, you just get in there, sign up, and you're on your way. That's what Pokemon should do. And you have enough judges at these tournaments in order to do that. Because when it goes to day 2, you don't need... If you have 40 judges, they don't need to have 40 judges for the main roster. They could do the limited amount of judges and have the other ones spread out for the other side events besides the prize wall events that are going on. That's a good way, I believe. It's counterintuitive, fair, and also allows the juniors and seniors and the parents feel like they're getting their money's worth out of this. And like again, I'm just showing this is a basic cost. I mean, it's not even like I'm not trying to say this is the real true estimate. I'm just saying in general, this is just a generic cost of what it would cost you if you would just gone or blanked. My apologies, I'm trying to get the numbers here all set right here. Let me just cut this off, make it easier. There we go. And just saying in general, I think Pokemon really needs to be aware of this cost scenario. Now, here's an alternative for people. Notice how I took completely off the cost of cards, the cost of buying booster boxes, EBT boxes, blister packs, single cards, trading cards with other people. There is an alternative to this, and there's actually kind of 2 alternatives. One is the Pokemon Go, which is technically a free game with an ad tech. There is no cost. The only cost is for you to get your hotel, transportation, and everything else but the cost of cards. Now, I would treat that as like your kid's fun trip. And don't treat it just for Pokemon. One thing I can tell parents is try to make it more, not just for Pokemon, try to make it more with outside thing. Like when I went to Worlds in DC, before this Worlds happened, and this is a lot of the last Worlds before COVID, we went for almost a whole week. I had my family with me, I had my friends with me, and we made it a blast. So it wasn't even about the Pokemon competition itself. It was just more overall a blast tournament. And you can make those tournaments more about other things outside of Pokemon too. But you're there for the kids for playing Pokemon when it needs to be. If you decide to switch over to Pokemon Go and Pokemon TCG, Go is going to be free because you just need to have the mobile app. And I believe at the tournaments, they actually have stations where the kid logs in with their equipment and you play. And for Pokemon video game or the VGC competitors, they won't start until January. But the only cost you have is buying a Nintendo Switch, which you don't have to buy the most fanciest version. You could go buy yourself I think it's the Switch Lite, like for $150 to $200. The cheapest one. I'm not sure what the exact price is right now, but and then you just wait for the new Pokemon Violet and I'm about to say Violet Emerald. Violet and Scarlet, or Scarlet and Violet, which way? Yeah, Scarlet and Violet sounds better. When that game comes out, then you can go ahead and purchase that game for $60, and then your kid has the two essentials and needs, and then of course there's power supplies and little things like that you should bring on these tournaments. Make sure that your Switch stays powered up. Those are just little minute costs compared to the TCG. Now, I'm not trying to say you should switch over from TCG over if you don't have the money to play. I'm just providing alternatives for people who are trying to budget themselves right now. Now, I have friends, and they could change this equation. Like, for example, you buy your flights ahead of time. Flights are cheaper. You go with friends, and the costs, everything breaks down because you're trying to divide the costs. I have friends that probably like 5 or 6 guys in one room, and they're okay with that. They're buddies, and they found a way to make the costs feasible for everybody. And that's good. I'm glad that we have groups of people who are willing to do that. And there are some adult families that could probably do the same thing. They get together like, hey, your kid, my kid likes this thing. Let's go together and let's put the costs in the hotel. And, the parents could get together and they go ahead and do that kind of stuff. Now, if you look at the hotel costs to kind of cut back, there's also Airbnb areas. So if you're not familiar with that, Airbnb are non-hotel entities that you can look up and rent for a couple days or however long time you want to rent. Sometimes it's cheaper, sometimes it can be more expensive for other miscellaneous fees that pop up for those things. Again, the choice is yours of how you decide to do that route. Again, these costs are just estimates. Like you cut back on food, don't eat out, don't go to restaurants. That will eat your wallet up. One of my friends, I know this will sound funny, protein drinks and baby food. I did say it, baby food. You'd be surprised of the amount of protein you get costing yourself like 50 cents to $1 buying a couple of those baby formulas. And instead of you waiting those long lines between the matches for the little break we get to finish that day, and you go to the food court and you're going to throw it down $10, $15, $20 per person. Bring some protein drinks. That will help out. Always drink water. Always bring a water bottle with you because water is always free. They always have refillers stations at a majority of tournaments I've ever been to. I've never seen a tournament that didn't have a water bottle refill system. This is just like, again, I'm just talking about overall situation. I only brought this up because I see many people talk about this, but I don't see many people talking about like the overall cost. And if you're going to go to the Worlds, being in the United States or Canada, and you have to get 500 points, I'm looking at this cost going, how many tournaments are in my region, my area? Well, I think this year there's like Salt Lake, San Diego, Portland, and Texas. So Texas is kind of like midway. So there's really like 3 West Coast. There's 1 mid, and then the 8 or 9 that are left. I think there's like 12, 13 total. The 8 or 9 that are left, they're all on the East Coast, Upper East mostly. So if you live like in Ohio or Pennsylvania or Tennessee, you got an easy range of going like a 3 or 4 hour trip to go to all the regionals you want to go to for a very cheap price. And I'm glad that that works out in some people's favors like that. But if you live on the West Coast or anywhere west of Mississippi, it's going to cost you a flight, at least, unless you are grinding the drive. And if you're a kid that, trying to convince mom and dad to, or, whatever your family situation is, to help you out, to go to these tournaments because you really want to go, I mean, Pokemon has to consider these things where it's like, junior, seniors, we understand. I personally believe the junior division needs to be free. I know it sounds weird about that, but I honestly believe the junior division should be free. Offer prizes and make the prizes come from Pokemon. For the amount of profit that Pokemon is making off the trading card game, video game, I believe Pokemon can afford to drop down a couple boxes just reserved for the junior division. No matter how many there are, they could drop that down and allow the seniors and masters, their entry fees are paying for the amount of product that's going to be available for them. But for the juniors, make it free. That cost cuts off for those parents that are going to be with them, and the other costs they're going to have to do. That would be the most simplistic thing you could possibly do. And I remember, I wish I could, as a kid, I look at this like now. A kid, you don't think about this kind of stuff, but parents look at this and they have to tell their kids, like, look, I work, you work a minimum wage job, parent, and you're not making a 6-figure income, and you're making minimum wage. This is why parents like doing football, baseball, and other sports like that, because it's affordable for the kids. Well, Pokemon, you need to look at this situation going, look, it needs to be cost affordable. Now, we're paying out a lot. And those parents are paying a lot more because they have to have extra bodies. Obviously, as a family, you're not going to send your kid by yourself. Pokemon needs to realize that the juniors have to be free, just to cut back on the cost. So if you're going to add the cost to us, fine, but drop the cost so it doesn't cost anything for the juniors. Now, if you're, again, I'll repeat this: if you're trying to get into TCG, we don't have the money, try VGC. You buy a Switch, you buy the game, you're spending on the low ball like $150, $200 for a Switch, $60 for the game. So I would say $250, $260 altogether. And you buy your controller, but you don't use the sticks, you buy a Pro controller, and you buy extended battery to help your battery out when you go to these tournaments. The least you're going to spend is $400 on all the good quality there. And then you're done. That's it. That's all you need. Trading cards are gonna spend thousands because they have to buy new cards, unless you buy singles, and you're gonna be investing every time a new set comes out. Pokemon Go, you guys, as long as you got a phone or a tablet that has a signal and you got an account on there, it's free for you. Yes, Niantic does have payback options, but technically the game is free, and you can virtually get everything except for the main event Pokemon. They do have costs on those things, but which is be honest, you can get just about every Pokemon in the game if you just wait just for a little bit. But anyways, today's video, I was going to do a video about Pokemon in general. I have a deck, which I will do later on today. It's a part 2 of my Shadow Rider deck that I was messing with a couple days ago. I just want to do a video out here, and I hope that this video does get passed around. I could care less if I get in trouble for talking about kind of stuff like this, because I'm not sure how Pokemon reacts when people talk. I'm not trying to talk negatively, I'm just talking about it in a perspective. My overall agenda is this: keep the cost on the masters, lower the costs for seniors, and make the costs for juniors free. When juniors have to have kids to play these games, and I'm also not even going out to regionals or international tournament or worlds or special events. I'm also going after the local people. If you get a junior that comes in that tournament, it needs to be free. I'm sorry. Cups and challenges, showdowns, and wherever Pokemon Go is going to call their events, Junior division should be free. That simple. And you can modify the prize pool for that. You know, Pokemon can make it so they may not get packs or better yet, Pokemon hands out not just like the game mats, but they hand out other special awards for those kids. Like they can have like these binders. They can make like cool binders, things that kids will love to take to school. A backpack, things. Those things of nature that Pokemon could produce. Pokemon can send these out to all the locals, and yeah, it is a cost, but the cost is more an investment to get these kids to start playing the game. Because when they become seniors and masters, they're going to be like, you know what, Pokemon's been so cool since I was a kid. That's how I felt as a kid. I actually didn't even realize, well, because I lived in a very rural area, I didn't even know Pokemon had a world tournament until I got older. I told my buddy one time that I lived in one of the major towns, went to one of the Hawaii world tournaments. This is prior before the game's regulations on went from invites to point structure. But nevertheless, like I was dumbfounded when I heard about this stuff. Pokemon, if you want new people to be playing this game over time and get the population to grow, focus on the children. And it's like saying the children are the future. Well, it's technically true. Yes, the people right now are paying, but your investment and what you're going to contribute will quadruple the amount of revenue you're going to make over time, making this game become just as popular. I hope this game becomes so popular that if I have kids and my kids have kids and they're still playing Pokemon and I'm still alive, it'll be there's those little funny stories like that. And I think Pokemon needs to realize those kind of situations that this game could contribute so much more if they just offer free for the little kids to get these kids active in the game, including locals. But anyways, I could jab around forever. I just wanted to be able to get a little statement out there to get people to understand that there's a cost. I'm looking at one tournament for over $1,150. That's not even counting the cards. Just talking about general aspect. Over $1,000 for one person. If a kid had just one parent with them, you could tack on another $500 to $200. So that was $1,150 becomes like $1,600 when you add on another parent to go a ticket. And say there's two parents and one kid, and they're gonna maybe get lucky and they get the kid for free for a seat. They're still spending $1,600. And then if say you have two kids and two adults, they can be spending $2,000. And Pokemon, you gotta realize this. That's too much. That's too much cost for any junior kid that wants to get into this tournament to get involved. I know you're gonna say like, oh well, the kids can just play locally and win. Well, if that's the case, then do the same thing for juniors, seniors. When you see those point trees and you go, oh well, master only needs to get this many, this much points, and and the junior seniors only need to get so much less. Make it across the board the same amount, and make it so you could get in by getting through locals, or you could get into worlds. But when you have to combine the two, and the cost starts going higher, it's hard. And if you want kids to get more involved in your competitive scene and go to these tournaments, make it free entry to save the help of the cost of the parents. Anyhow, I'll let you guys go. I'll be doing my other video later on today. I just wanted to throw that out to you guys, and I hope you guys will make some comments and concerns about it. I think the word needs to be out there. I think people need to understand what's happening. Other than that, I hope everybody had fun.